Gemini, I'm here to get you some messages from Spirit to illuminate your pathway forward that leads you to alignment with your purpose, your empowerment, and your ultimate fulfillment. This is for any strong Gemini placement: Gemini, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus, North Node, Mercury, Mars, Saturn, Pluto, a prominent third house placement, or if you're a Sagittarius rising, that makes you a Gemini Descendant. We're going to dive right into this energy and see what wants to come into play. What does Gemini need to know at this time, Spirit? What does Gemini need to know at this time, Spirit? Spiritual guidance for Gemini at this time, Spirit, please. What does Gemini need to know at this time, Spirit? Using my big Oracle deck here of several Oracle decks combined. So I work with this one a little differently. We do some cutting of energy here. Interesting cutting of energy here, I said, just as I look at Tantra of 639 hertz. Okay. I'm getting this message that this is what you're really wanting. You're wanting this kind of connection. You're wanting this kind of connection with another where it really feels like a union of souls. But I'm noticing this here. Notice that the masculine almost looks like though they are present here with somebody, their energy seems to be connected to somebody else. So I wonder if you have this feeling like somebody's not really being present with you in this way. Connecting on an intimate level. Maybe you feel like somebody's mind, it's elsewhere, or maybe even thinking of somebody else. I do feel like you feel like somebody you've dealt with is a little bit checked out on an intimate level or an emotional level. Some of you are with somebody who is widowed, actually, and you feel like they kind of have their passed on loved ones still, maybe they lost a husband or wife, and they feel still like so connected to that individual that you feel like you're not getting, the full person. I feel like there's some kind of disconnect here where you feel like somebody's energy is still attached to somebody else, or that their mind is focused on somebody else, and it's definitely connecting on the intimate level. I think you're wanting to feel a real soul connection here. I think you're wanting to feel a real sense of union. You might want to work with this Hertz frequency. It is 639 hertz, and it might give you some balance in that regard. I am picking up this widowed message too, because it's almost like if you look here, there is, a masculine figure. At first, I thought this was somebody with them, but actually there's nobody here. It's almost like, two people are in rapture and yet they're not physically together. They're still very much energetically tied. Okay. So all the previous messages still apply. I feel like that it's playing out on many different stratums of being. It's a collective read, so it's tapping into some different storylines here. But there's this common theme of wanting that kind of union and that kind of connection, and feeling like there's some kind of disconnect, and that possibly somebody's energy is elsewhere, so they're not really fully present in the connection, and it's causing some sense of questioning, and maybe even having trouble moving into the vulnerability of intimacy. Okay, let's see what we got here. Somebody might also be sort of living in fantasy land in terms of their expectations for intimacy. Ooh, that was true. What fell over there? Something just fell over. Oh, a penny. The penny dropped. Interesting. Okay, we got mummy, change. This is something old. This is an old influence, an old energy. It could be something resurfacing from the past. It's also something that keeps a connection in a certain like stuck position. Like it can't move into the kind of growth that you're really wanting with this connection. because there's still too much old stuff attached, and it keeps this person from really fully moving into the experience of this union. This may be a very strong karmic connection too. Just like it's not your first time at the rodeo with this individual. You may feel like you shared many lifetimes with this person. There may be a connection to Egypt there. I'm just noticing the pyramids in the background there. We do also have this like blood moon energy. So there could have been something that really came up in October of 2023 that highlighted something old, still kind of like running the narrative in this relationship that made you feel, it made you feel in some way like this is as good as it gets. Like it's not possible for this to really become what I would like to see it be. It feels like a bit of that kind of like Eight of Swords energy, like seeing a truth, but not wanting to see a truth because it requires some kind of change that's really uncomfortable, and a change that you almost feel in some ways paralyzed is the word that's coming through, paralyzed to move forward into, because it just, it feels like almost an impossibility. Like you can't even see the way to make it happen, to move out of this. You might become so familiarized with this that to step into the change feels very scary. And so you might be making excuses to stay in a situation that actually is not living up to the true fulfillment that you seek in relationship. I feel like it's around relationship, intimacy. This is a very long-standing issue, and there's something that needs to shift here because you feel like your partner's energy is absent, or maybe connected to somebody else, that they're still thinking about somebody that either passed on if they were married before and they were widowed when you met them, or there's an energy that just is lingering. It could even just be this person's just not totally open because they're shut down due to painful experiences they've had in previous relationships, and this still affects them. Okay. All right, let's see what we got here. Let's do another cut. I do 3 rounds of this just to get a baseline energy of what wants to come in for you. Oh my gosh, it came in again. Are you kidding me? I mean, this is the memo. I feel like this wants to come into alignment for you, where you're wanting to have a connection, where this level of intimacy is there, where it's not just about, getting it on. It's not just about, getting your yayas out. It's actually about really feeling like you're merging on a soul level. I think you're wanting the sexual to become the spiritual, and maybe you've never experienced that, or maybe you experienced it with someone else and you're just not finding it in your current connection, or your partner feels this way. You might actually want to explore Tantra as a pathway to have better connection with the person that you are connected to. And if you're single and you currently don't have a partner, you can still practice Tantra. That's White Hand Path Tantra. And there's a lot you can learn through that. It's actually White Hand Path Tantra is all about, restraining oneself from release, sexual release. Okay. So you can absolutely work with this to come into that place of union with the feminine, masculine aspects within yourself. They call that the conjuncto, the sacred marriage. And from that position, you can really alchemize a lot of these negative influences or projections that you embody that were put on you in the past, in particular from lovers and around intimacy, and just feeling safe and really being totally wide open to that experience. So you might want to explore Tantra. I would say if you're going to explore Tantra, really look for an ethical teacher, because especially in the West, there's been a real distortion of what Tantra is about. Tantra is not just about intimacy either. Tantra is all kinds of yogic methods, kriyas, meditations, pranayama, breath work. Okay, so don't get, you know, sort of like thrown off track. In fact, you may have even had that experience where you explored it, but something about it felt like, this isn't for me. This feels a little bit off. You might not have connected with the right teacher. I'm getting something come through very specifically for you with Tantra, for those of you that do have a partner. And even if you don't, there's a way you can work with this. And I'm getting soul gazing. There's a need for you to like really connect through the eyes, like really just spend some time sitting with each other and just breathing, facing each other and staring into each other's eyes. You know, eyes are the windows of the soul. So there might be something through connecting on that deep of a level that unlocks whatever is blocking this emotional freedom that needs to come forward, so you can truly connect in a way that, you know, you haven't in a long time. Maybe you've even noticed this. Maybe you feel like your partner kind of like doesn't really look you in the eye anymore, and you've just noticed something different about their whole demeanor around you. You might want to invite this piece in, okay? And it wouldn't hurt to bring 639 hertz into your home environment. For those of you that are single, you don't have a partner, I encourage you to do some mirror work where you just sit in front of a mirror and you look into your own eyes while, you know, you breathe deeply and just notice, use it as a meditation. Notice what surfaces in you, what kind of thoughts run through your mind. And don't get attached to them. Don't hold on to them. Just let them drift by in your consciousness like a leaf floating on the stream. But there's something also about looking into your own eyes and really coming to that place of love and acceptance and openness and vulnerability with yourself too. So you can be truly centered in your heart and the vulnerability of that. There's something it'll unlock in you. Tantra is coming through very strongly for you. You could be being prepared to have this kind of a level up for those of you who are in relationship where you start to connect on a deeper level intimately. And for others of you, if you haven't had that or you're now single, you are lining up with somebody who will be able to come together with you on that level in a whole different way than you're used to. And there's almost this piece about get yourself prepared by moving into a more receptive place, right? So work with that mirror work a little bit if that's your story. Okay, that's pretty wild that they came out twice. Let's see what we got here. Inspiration. Yes, it's beautiful. Look at this. Yes, there's some kind of unfoldment that's in process right now. I feel like its light is just entering your life. We got a lot of beautiful energy here. We have bees here. So that makes me think the sweetness of the honey. It also makes me think of the spreading, you know, of the pollen and the blooming of all the beautiful flowers. And it's that nectar of life energy, that sweetness coming in. I'm also getting big Oshun vibes. So I don't know, some of you may really connect with the energy of Oshun. She is the Orisha of love and beauty. She's associated with rivers and sweet waters. Okay. So there might be something that you get from spending time near a river, near a brook, near a stream, that can help you kind of tap into this energy that wants to come through for you. This is also about something's in the process of coming into a place of creation in your life. I do got sacral chakra energy merging with Manipura, solar plexus chakra energy. So I feel like there's a need to feel more empowered in the sexuality to really experience the sweetness of coming into union too. And there might have been something that happened in the past, especially in relation to intimacy, that just made you feel like you weren't being respected in that space. And so it almost kind of like froze you up inside. I say that because Oshun often finds that love on an earthly level never matches the spiritual ideal. And in fact, the corresponding energy, Urzule Frida, can often be seen as refusing advances because she just feels they're too superficial. They don't have any depth to them. There's no meaning to them. And it's not about the superficial things. It's not about the gifts that are given. It's about the connection that matters. So there could be, this kind of energy in play too, where maybe somebody does something that's really hurtful. They think that they can make up for it by giving a gift or, spoiling the partner. Oh, let's just forget about that. Hey, this is good now. Okay. And I feel like there's a desire to move into a more empowered place where it's about propagating growth. Okay. It's not about staying in these places where, yeah, let's just kind of like gloss over it, sweep it under the rug. And through the willingness to sort of talk about this. And again, I am picking up, you might connect with some kind of community. Okay. Because bees are also about forming communities. So there could be like a yogic community that you want to connect with, or a tantra community that you want to connect with, that can help you experience growth in your connections and get you looking at things in a new way. And again, even if you're single, there are tantra communities that you can be a part of. You don't have to have a partner, okay? And you don't have to, buy into the Western distortion of Tantra. There are ethical teachers out there. So just make sure you do your research. You might even want to begin just by reading up about it, all right? This might give you some inspiration, some different inspirations for how you can kind of move into this place of intimacy that you want to move into. And, for those of you who are single, this is all about, finding inspiration within yourself and doing this inner work and experiencing growth. It looks like it's through this pathway of, really working on more like kind of a tantric type of path where you're looking to bring the masculine and feminine into a place of balance within yourself. This is not for everybody, okay? But there may be some of you who are really coming to the realization that you are fluid and that you don't feel locked into, solely masculine energy or solely feminine energy. And maybe this is a really outside of the box thought for you, and you're starting to get comfortable with understanding that you have these different aspects of yourself, and that you do have a desire to maybe express more of your feminine nature or express more of your masculine nature. So I do feel like there's a little bit of play that's being brought in here, but it brings some kind of growth, fulfillment, and empowerment as well. Okay. And then I'm going to do one cut here. All right. And we'll look at this card later about your path forward with this. I'm going to get a shuffle of this side of the deck and see what other guidance wants to come in for Gemini around this. What other guidance wants to come in for Gemini around this? Okay. Got the Halloween Oracle here. Yes, see, we got community and web weaving with the spider, but it's in reverse here. And then we have invisibility with authenticity, also in reverse here. So it's letting me know that what's missing in this picture of what you're looking to create for yourself in terms of emotional intimacy is lacking. Now, for some of you, this is within your community. It's with the people you're hanging out with. Maybe you feel like everything is very superficial. Nobody really goes to a deep place. Nobody comes towards you in an authentic way. You always feel like it's just sort of, bobbing along the surface, social pleasantries, but no real connecting, like on a heart level or a spiritual level. Some of you are really craving that. You're craving real, true connections where all the walls come down. There's just, a purity of expression. There's no artifice in it. There's no angle. There's no somebody trying to work something to their advantage. Okay. But this is also about, in some ways, feeling like there's even a deceptive or a misleading quality in some of your connections, or a very significant connection. And this could also be, with community web weaving in reverse. This can be sort of something that's actually a destructive element that may be impacting a relationship, because maybe somebody isn't respecting what's supposed to be intimate between the two of you, but instead is going out and like sharing this with people, and people are talking and people are gossiping, and it's getting a little messy. All right. And more you find yourself just wanting to like pull your energy back, and you feel like you can't really let your guard down and really express yourself honestly and share what's coming up for you, because you might be afraid that, well, they're just going to run off and tell that, and this is something that's actually very sensitive for me. I don't want it shared with everybody. All right. So there are some elements at play that feel a little bit manipulative, a little bit controlling the narrative. There might be multiple people involved. This is creating kind of a messy situation. You might feel there's dishonesty involved. Okay. You might feel that somebody you're involved with has more people in the mix than they told you. This could also be a case where you thought you were part of a group or community or spiritual group, something like this, that felt like everything was really honest and above board, but you're starting to feel like there's something more subversive going on here. You're not feeling comfortable. It doesn't feel safe for you to open up. For some of you, this is a support group you're going to, or some kind of counseling you're going through, and it's just something feels compromised here. And you also may feel like something that is supposed to be held in that space is being then taken out of that space and shared with other people, and that doesn't sit right with you. So I feel like this is something that you do need to address, and it feels like it needs to be addressed on a community level. So this can be resolved, because there's this piece here about it's almost becoming an isolating influence. And even within relationship, for those of you in relationships, it's making you feel very alone in your relationship, because you feel like you can't even like fully trust your partner. Right? Got this message coming in very strongly. And you might be feeling like the crowd that you hang out with, the people you hang out with, for those of you who are single, just the people you're associating with, that they're kind of just, there's only just like a certain level of interaction here, and you're wanting a more depth of connection. You're wanting more real connection. So again, I encourage you to maybe expand, reach out and, look at maybe opening up to a group, a support group, or some kind of yogic group, spiritually oriented group. Some of you might want to start going to yoga classes or exploring tantra, a meditation group, anything along these lines. And it was 2323. That's 55. That's 10. Okay. In some cases, you're extricating yourself from a relationship, and this will be very beneficial for you as you leave the old to prepare to step into the new. So you're sort of like setting the template for somebody to be able to really meet you in the space that you want to be with another in. You know what I'm saying? It's like it allows you to sort of clear out the energy of the past and find support from a community of people that are more in alignment with, your vision, your values, the type of life you want to create for yourself. You may even meet somebody, new there. For those of you who've been single for a long time, you may feel like everybody that you deal with is just sort of like, it's all just games. Like nobody's very upfront about what they want. It's always just sort of like playing it fast and loose. And so there might be something about the pond you're fishing in it's too small. It's become contaminated. All these people know each other. It's complicated, and you might need to, like, I don't know, you need to do some deep sea fishing or something. 2444 on the clock, and then you'll come into alignment with something that's more fitting for you. But in a relationship where stuff that's supposed to be intimate between you and your partner is getting like spread around because they're telling all their friends, and then their friends are telling their friends, and now it's like the rumor mill. Like, I think there needs to be a real like shutting down of this energy because it's creating problems with you being able to connect with this person on a real level, right? There's some kind of respect, honesty, transparency that needs to be reestablished here, seen eye to eye, you know, connecting on a more soulful heart level. All right. This is the path forward. You have this wolf energy coming in here on the back of this card. And you got, yes, solve polluti 741 hertz. Yes, I look at this. There's all these like strings of attachment coming from the heart that has sort of caused the heart center on a hata become polluted, congested, you know, full of all this stuff that just blocks off, you know, your ability to really receive love and let love in. And in some cases, even take down your guard and be vulnerable. So I do feel like there's some clearing work that needs to be done here. I recommend getting yourself a nice piece of rose quartz or rhodochrosite is also really nice. Angelite is another nice stone. Something that you can, you know, just rest on your heart center and maybe allow yourself to just, you know, kind of drink in that nurturing energy. You can even warm up some oil if you get a nice smooth stone. They make some stones that they're in the shape of a heart. They're actually used for massage. They can be used for massage. So you could put some warm oil on your chest and you could take that stone and just sort of, you know, do a little massage with the stone to open up the heart center. I also feel like working on Anahata, the heart chakra, could be very helpful for you. You might need to do some release work because I feel like there's some old energy that's still being held in the heart that's really preventing you from moving into this emotional freedom that needs to happen because there's some truth you need to speak here about some way that there's wounding that's still being held in the heart and stuffing it down or hiding it and not bringing it out into the open is not allowing the love to come in. It's not allowing you to even be receptive, you know, to the advance of somebody new coming onto your path if you're single right now and you're still holding on to some old trauma stuff. So I do recommend that you start to open up to this. Again, the hertz frequencies really do help. 741 hertz. So look at bringing that in. You know, you could give yourself a little self massage healing session while you listen to 741 hertz. You'd be surprised what it can get moving just energetically from the body. It can really break up a lot of those sort of fixed energetical holding patterns, right? And your body has memory. Your body has memory of everything that you've ever been through. And so a lot of times when we get the lymph moving, it can allow the emotional release to come through where what's blocking the heart can finally let go. I do feel like there's an opportunity for softening here and coming into union. And it was 28:28 on the clock when I said that. But before you can come into a new beginning in matters of the heart and be receptive to the love that does want to come in, something needs to be brought to a close that has been a very dishonoring experience. And I do feel that as you clear out what has kind of polluted the experience of what it means to be able to be vulnerable with another, what it means to be able to connect intimately with another, what it means to really be able to let down your guard and share your heart, you're going to find the way through to someone who really can meet you in that space. And for some of you, it's through speaking your truth that your current partner can finally get a different view of what's been getting in the way of the two of you really coming into that beautiful place of union.